One of the most common presenting concerns that I get from my clients is that they want to be having more sex, but they don't want to have more sex. So it's not just a matter of like, oh, I'm too busy and I need to rearrange my schedule and plan some date nights. It's like they're lacking the desire, the motivation, or the energy to actually have sex, but they like the idea of having more sex. So they want it, but they also like don't want it. So it's really confusing and totally normal. That's why over the past few weeks, Sarah and I have been talking about natural ways that you can help to up your sexy using different foods and exercises. Upping your sexy just means feeling more sexy, looking more sexy, and wanting more sexy in your life. But one of the most profound ways to really up your level of sexy is to understand what's blocking it. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 4 of the most common sexy blockers that I usually see standing between my clients and their ideal sex life. Hello everybody, my name is Kendra. I am a counselor and somatic sex educator here at Eat Squat Come. And today I'm going to be talking about 4 of the most common sexy blockers. So those things that prevent us from feeling sexy and looking sexy and wanting more sex. Sexy blocker number 1, stress. We are a culture that is stressed out. It's cool to be busy, and it has become normal to be fueled on caffeine and depressed by alcohol or drugs, and that is not sexy. Though it does feel sexy at the time Sarah mentioned, which is a very good point. Sometimes alcohol makes us feel super sexy. But what stress is actually doing is it is increasing the amount of cortisol that you have in your system, which makes you operate like you're in fight or flight mode. And in nature, we have fight or flight to protect ourselves from predators. But today, when we get stressed out and our body is operating like we're being chased by a tiger, when we're not actually being chased like a tiger and it never ends because of our jobs or our kids or our responsibilities or all of the stress is constantly there, we constantly think that we are in danger. And know when a really bad time to have sex is? When you're being chased by a tiger, or you think that you are, or your body thinks that you are. So your body is never going to have the same amount of desire or energy or time and attention to give to pleasure when it thinks that you're in danger, when you're operating in fight or flight, when you have all this cortisol, when you are stressed out. Chronic stress is so bad for your health for many reasons. It can increase cravings for sugary foods. It can lead to weight gain, unregulated mood, and disruptive sleep patterns, which all wreak havoc on your sex life. So if you think that stress may be blocking some of your sexy, then consider lifestyle changes. Diet and exercise is a good place to start, like reducing the amount of caffeine or sugar that you're eating or increasing the amount of physical activity that you do in your day. Also increasing mindfulness practices like meditation or yoga or spending time in nature, doing things that really help to fill you up and make you feel more rejuvenated, replenished, and relaxed. Sexy blocker number 2. Depression. Depression rates have been rising steadily over the last several years, and people who are feeling depressed generally don't feel up to getting busy in the bedroom. Not to mention that a lot of antidepressant medications can actually suppress libido. People who have struggled with depression are familiar with feeling low mood, low energy, feeling empty, unmotivated, and having disruptive sleep patterns, all of which really can get in the way of wanting to be sexually active. If you are struggling with depression or think that you might be having some depressive symptoms, I would highly suggest talking to your doctor as well as a counselor, therapist, psychologist. The best practice for treating depression right now is actually a combination of cognitive behavioral therapy with medication and, can you guess? Exercise. That's right. Exercise is actually a key element to helping combat depressive feelings, which is a real ball buster actually, because like the last thing you feel like doing when you're depressed is exercising, and it's one of the things that can help you the most. But anything, like even 5 minutes a day to start of moving your body, even if that just means taking the stairs when you would normally take an elevator, can help create those baby steps toward lifting depressive symptoms. Even if you're not depressed, just if your mood is low or you really don't feel like having sex, exercise, and it can really help to get your libido going. Sexy blocker number 3, trauma. If you are a person who has experienced any sexual abuse or trauma, and not just sexual trauma, any trauma, it can be a real shock to your nervous system and really get in the way of being able to feel and access pleasure. American psychologist and the founder of Somatic experiencing, Peter Levine, said that trauma lives in the nervous system, meaning that we hold the memory and the emotion of these events in our bodies. And if we don't fully process them and release them, they stay stuck in our system. This can lead to us feeling unsafe in our own body, as well as increased levels of stress, both of which are really not conducive to a healthy sex life. So if you have some sexual abuse or trauma in your past, and I honestly think that most people have something, then it would be really wise to go and talk to a counselor or a psychologist, or even work with a body worker to help release some of the physical effects of that trauma, as well as cognitively process it. You can check out some of the other videos we've done on this channel on mindful erotic practice, shaking practice, and breath work. All of those would be great exercises to gently release trauma on your own. You can do them at home. I've linked them below. Finally, sexy blocker number 4, shame. Sexual shame is universal. If you want to look at me and tell me that you have never experienced sexual shame, then I'm either going to call your bluff, or I'm going to say that you had the most sexually liberated yet appropriately respectful parents who somehow shielded you from ever watching a music video or a movie or a television show or porn or going to church or looking at a magazine or talking to your peers or literally hearing anything from anyone about sex. Because shaming people around sex and sexuality is one of North America's favorite pastimes. The best way to deal with shame is to talk about it, normalize it. Watch videos like this one or look up Brene Brown. She is the shame master and guru. I will link one of her videos on vulnerability below and shame talks. I'll link them. She's got wicked TED Talk. The more that we can talk about sexual shame and sex with one another, the more that we can learn about ourselves and liberate ourselves from that shame, which will up our level of sexy. So those are your main sexy blockers: stress, depression, trauma, and shame. Take some time to consider which one of these may be active in your life, maybe a little bit of all of them. I know I've had all of those definitely interfere with my sex life at some point or another, sometimes several at the same time. Also, while you are considering, take the time to consider subscribing to our channel, or just do it. Just click subscribe and join us every week for more amazing sexy information just like this. And until next time, eat, squat, and come.